Yes, now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Thomas Fancy YouTube channel. Let's talk about NXT. A few non-title things I want to cover before I get into the title things. So Josh Briggs, Yoshiki Inamura concluded their feud, or maybe they haven't concluded their feud, but they had their Philadelphia street fight in which Josh Briggs got the win, which I'm not surprised by, but I didn't see coming. I thought Yoshiki being the star, Josh still needing work in ring and on the mic. He would probably still lose this match, but it would be a match to put him more in the spotlight and help build him up and make some progress. But Josh actually got the win, and if I was Josh, I'd be very proud of myself because that was a very good match. He opened up the show, he got the spotlight, and you can tell he's progressing not only as a wrestler, but as a superstar. His name is getting bigger, and it's more significant every time he gets in the ring. So very good. There was an unfortunate botch of the finish at the end, but not too bad. He was just a little bit off on the moonsault, but the impact was still there because it was through a table, and he got the win. He got the win over Inamura in a Philadelphia street fight, a great match. This is only going to propel him to new heights. The in-ring is getting better, the mic and the character needs to get better, and it probably still is, so congrats to him. That was fair, that was a great way to open the show. No complaints from me. Anything else non-title? Ricky Sainz and Jasper Troy had their match, and it's funny because they were in Philadelphia, and last time NXT was on the road for an episode of NXT and outside the Performance Center, it was in Texas, and back there Jasper Troy and Ricky Sainz had a match then also, which is when Jasper put Ricky through the stage and did a senton off the stage and then won by countout. Well, something similar happened. Jasper Troy hit an amazing senton where he jumped on the steps onto the other steps, but obviously Ricky moved, which hurt Jasper and led to Ricky getting the victory. So Ricky Sainz won this time round. They're 1-1. Hasn't killed Jasper's momentum because that was a pretty decent bump, but obviously I think they want to put the momentum more behind Ricky Sainz, and they wanted a nice way to do that while removing him from the North American Championship situation, because Ricky is one of their future stars, and you can tell that. So that was a way of them doing that. Other non-title things, there was Blake Monroe and Jordan Grace. Blake Monroe, had a little contract, a little restraining order saying Jordan couldn't touch her until Heatwave, which is funny that she does it now because Heatwave is only 5 days away. Oh, well, it's Wednesday now, so only 4 days away. So, yeah, if that was done last week, that would have made a bit more sense, but it is what it is. Jordan then beat up the security, and at least this time she had a reason, All the time, baby faces or heels, they're always beating up security, and security is just catching slack for no reason. And it's so obvious that security are trained wrestlers, but it is what it is. It's one of the worst kept secrets in wrestling. But yeah, she said, if I can't beat you up tonight, I'm going to show you when I'm going to do it. Heatwave, and she beat up 4 male security guards. Not very good security guards WWE's hiring, $1 billion company, and they can't hire security guards that can hold back one wrestler. Do you know what I mean? Crazy. Anyway, again, they're just been holding back the Jordan Grace, Blake Monroe story. You could have done a lot more with the story, I feel like, but they just want this Heatwave match, and they want to put one of the stars forward while JC Jane's having a reign, because you couldn't have JC Jane beat those two big superstars. That would kill their momentum. So you had to have them collide while JC Jane has her reign, which is fair enough. I'm not complaining about it because I know that it's inevitable that they're going to win the title at some point. And Jordan Grace is going to be a champion for a very long time. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. And small little thing was No Quarter Catch crew. Charlie and it's Ren left. I said Ren this time, not Gwen. Simply them left. They had a bit of a run-in with the culling, where Charlie, being as arrogant as he was, well, he'd sent Kendall Gray on our way. She had enough of him. He was quite snobby at her. But then he also set up Ren in a 2-on-1 handicap match with Izzy Dame and Tatum Paxley, which is obviously, I guess now they're going to lead up to a fallout between Ren and Charlie, where they're going to go their own ways as well. But with Kendall kind of being friendly with Ren, I feel like they're probably going to have Kendall and Ren, or well, Kendall save Ren, and maybe that will lead to something in the future. Who knows? But that was just a little something that set up a match for next week, should I say. And finally, after Miles beat Lexus came to apologise, and he kept calling him deaf and blind. And obviously, it's a heel, you think, and apologies. Not like a heel, which you would be right, because when Miles seems to correct him on the fact that he's not blind, Lexus King hits him with the pepper spray. in the eyes and attempts to blind him. So yeah, they're probably going to progress this feud, which is a shame for Miles Bone, because what happened to leaving the NQCC and getting some momentum? He had a shot at the NXT title, but once that was done, that's not really been much. I mean, there's been the Alexis King feud, and hopefully they might have a good match and end it at some point. But let's get on to the title stuff now. As for the Women's North American Championship, absolutely nothing. We had 2 seconds of Sol Ruka and Zarya backstage, where again, they're just kind of having random interactions with people backstage. Since the Tatum Paxley and Izzy Dame story, where I thought Izzy Dame should have probably took the title, there's been nothing. So I feel like if they're not doing anything, and Zaruka are doing nothing as a tag team, why aren't we breaking up Zaruka and Sol Ruka? Why aren't we just breaking up Zaruka and having Zarya challenge Sol Ruka for the NXT North American Championship? Either do it as a competitive thing first, and then turn our heel, or just turn our heel. We'll do something, because we just had Lainey Reed going, "Oh, you don't defend both titles." You know, it's stupid, right? So I feel like let's just have that happen. Do you know what I mean? So let's just execute on Zarya and Sol Ruka. Let's not waste time on that. Let's do it now, because there's nothing happening with that title. As for the North American Championship, obviously last week we had the whole thing with Ethan Page, Chelsea Green, the Secret Service, Tavion Height, and what's her name? Something May. Oh my god. Yes, Tyra May Steele is her name. They were going to have a peace treaty, so where Ethan and Chelsea were going to sit down, try and do a peace treaty with Tavion and Tyra May. Obviously, it wasn't going to lead to that. It was all going to lead to an inevitable argument where they fall out and set up a match. What I like about this is it's to push both Tavion and Tyra. Ethan is well established in the wrestling world before he made it to WWE, and he is the North American Championship, so he's established on his own. Chelsea Green and the Secret Service, they're main roster superstars. They're established, right? Who aren't established are Tavion and Tyra May. They are both established outside of wrestling. They're both Olympic medalists. I don't think Tavion was a gold medalist, but Tyra is. And, you know, she was also the winner of LFG, I think. And they've done nothing with her since she's won LFG. I mean, they did something with Jasper Troy, but they did nothing with Tyra May, which blows my mind, because she has the most potential out of any woman I've ever seen. For one of her first in-ring promos on television, on a proper show, she does great. I see the charisma. Why can't I talk? I was going to say charisma. I can see the charisma. I can see the confidence in the promo and the character. And obviously seeing some of the suplexes and knowing that's just an Olympic gold medalist, I don't doubt that the in-ring ability is definitely there. And the same for Tavion Height. For people who haven't had much shine as a solo superstar, he's doing great. So after a fight broke out, obviously Ava just kind of said what we're going to do is a mixed tag match at Heatwave, which is great. And I'll get into who I think is going to win at the end. Well, not at the end, in a predictions video that I might upload tomorrow. And then, yeah, this is just great. This is great for Tavion. It's great for Tyra May. So I'm happy about it. I'm entertained by it. What can I say? Now, we've had nothing from Hank and Tank this week, which is weird because they've been running around like crazy the last few weeks and trying to chase down Dark State. Instead, Dark State were there and had a normal conversation with Ava, and they were just kind of talking their shit, really. And Joe Hendry popped out because they were mentioning how they're better than everyone, you know, even the women's division, Jada Parker, Lash Legend, Trick Williams, Javon Evans, Joe Hendry. And then Joe Hendry popped out because you said his name, say his name, and he will appear. And then we're cutting his promo that was trying to scare Joe Hendry off, and obviously Cutler James again with the weird sus comments. I love that they're doing something entertaining with them. Like, they've established themselves as a dangerous faction, and now Dion Lennox is constantly bringing the energy. Saquon Sugar's obviously the leader of the group, bringing the energy. Osiris Griffin, although you can tell he needs the most work, he's getting confident with speaking, and Cutler James is bringing some entertainment. They're getting some character behind them. Now, two of them four are going to challenge for the NXT Tag Team titles at Heatwave, and it needs to only be two of them. And here's who I think it should be. I think it should be Dion Lennox and Osiris Griffin. Here's why. Saquon Sugars is the main leader of Dark State. I feel like in the future they could do something better with him, like chasing the North American Championship or the NXT Championship. Dion Lennox is a given. He is the most confident on the mic and out of all of them, really. So I feel like the most confident character I definitely need to. And I feel like Osiris Griffin, because he's great in the ring and he's talking constantly. I feel like with Cutler James, they're trying to slow build him. having him be the funny one of the group, having him be like the weird one of the group. And eventually at some point he might do something like the North American Championship. Who knows? But I feel like it should be Dion Lennox and Osiris Griffin. Kind of preserve the leader, Saquon Sugars, kind of preserve him. But who knows? I'll complain with either because they're great in the ring. They put on great matches. And yeah, I'm not going to say who I think is going to win because I'm going to save that for the predictions video. So you tune in. And I think that's everything but the NXT Women's and NXT Championship. So let's talk about it. Fatal Influence was scheduled for a match against the Elegance. Is that what it is? Yeah, the Elegance brand. I think. The Elegance brand. Yeah. That's what it is. I don't watch TNA, so I think it's the Elegance brand. Which I didn't even realise Ash by Elegance is actually Dana Brooke, I think. And she's going to be the one in the triple threat match at Heatwave. So yeah. We also had Masha Slamovich as the special guest referee per her request because she's going to be the third woman in the match. She stirred it up a bit, but that match was a banger, by the way. Normally, like, we're used to getting 6-man tags on Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, and normally they're just quite typical, but, like, quite often they're just bangers. Like, they're great matches, like, let's be honest. Fantastic match. And obviously, with the ref being distracted, JC Jane was able to hit that finishing move on Ash by Elegance and, well, pick up the win. Again, I don't know why she's not just pinning one of the other members of Ash by Elegance because, not Ash by Elegance, Elegance brand, because Ash is the one in the match. Am I wrong? So why are you pinning Ash? That's already taken away her credibility. But it is what it is. I'm not sure if it's both titles on the line at Heatwave or it's just the TNA Championship. Depending on what it is, will change my answer on who I think is going to win. So, yeah, I'm interested to see the match because JC Jane's actually been doing all right. I thought she was going to be a transitional champion. She's actually proved herself as a character and in the ring. So, I've got no complaints about that. Now, finally, the NXT Championship. The main event of this episode of NXT was to find out who was going to face Obafemi. Was it Trick or was it Javon? I thought maybe Moose might play a role in all this, but it's not. Moose being in that 8-man tag was purely just an add-on of his feud with Trick for the TNA Championship. Now, Javon got the win, which is exactly what I wanted. It would have been nice to have a stand and deliver rematch with the triple threat match, but it's fine that we didn't because Javon, this is what I wanted for Javon the whole time since stand and deliver. I said since Trick Williams won the TNA World Championship, he can go off and do his thing in TNA, but Javon needs to chase that NXT title, and they didn't, and they kind of did nothing with Javon, which didn't make sense because Oba wasn't have the best of competition for the NXT title either. Felt like this should have happened already, but it's finally happening. And although I'm not going to reveal my answer, but this is big for Javon. This is what Javon is needed. I feel like Trick needs to move on from NXT, either TNA or the main roster. But Javon needs to really be number one star or in the top numbers of stars. And this match with Obafemi is going to prove it. And I'm happy Javon's got it because he is exactly who I wanted to get it. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I will upload my predictions for Heatwave tomorrow. If not, it will happen before Heatwave. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.